Before I start this video, I don't work at Xbox, I wasn't flown to play MW4 early, nor am I even just secretly Kevin Drew using a voice changer. For the most part, I'm simply giving an objective reality on the game's content. Also, I'm going to be simplifying on quite a few things for the sake of runtime, though there is a lot more that can be said. Now, though I should, throughout this video, I'm not going to name anyone specifically as a grifter, seeing as grifter has just lost so much of its meaning by now. So I'll just refrain from saying grifter at all. Thank you. Coming off the dumpster fire that was most of Black Ops 6's seasons, it's safe to say that the COD community was way more than dissatisfied with the direction the game took throughout its life cycle. While BO6 did have its positives, namely things like the introduction of augments, the zombies maps, including the tomb and excluding Shattered Veil, just don't even get me started on that, and the decent campaign, between the mediocre events, the nonsensical post-on story, the terrible MP map design, and the reuse of Cold War Zombies mechanics for the third time, and of course, the out-of-touch and just immersion-breaking store bundles, there really wasn't a lot to like about this game. And things definitively got to a boiling point when the American Dad and Beavis and Butthead collabs dropped in BO6. With how clearly rushed the skins looked and how embarrassingly lazy their voice lines were, and the fact that collabs like these look like they belong in, say, Fortnite as opposed to COD, players just had it up to here with COD losing all sense of direction and identity, making the community full of contempt and purely apathetic to heights we have never seen before by the time BO7's marketing started up. I mean, any videos that even mentioned Call of Duty or BO7 had the comment sections filled with nothing but hate for modern COD, nostalgia for the older games, and absolute praise for EA's upcoming Battlefield 6. For some reason. No, but like really, what was people's thought process at the time? Like, if Activision isn't treating you good, then EA is going to treat you better? Like, what? Now, was all that hate warranted? Absolutely. This was the wake-up call that Activision desperately needed, and I don't think BO7 would be as good as it is if it wasn't for the changes and additions that the hate bandwagon gave us, despite the fact that it did also get Carry Forward canceled. But I would talk about Carry Forward in more detail here, but there is a creator by the name of Shin Splitter that already beat me to it, and I just be reiterating their points because that was a pretty good video. So I'd give that a watch after this. Regardless, what's my point in saying all this, right? I believe that the COD community has been going through a psychological phenomenon that sums us all up perfectly, known as groupthink. It's when people in a group, or in this case a community, prioritize conformity to one specific idea over critical thinking, leading to a suppression of dissenting or opposing viewpoints and opinions, resulting in potentially flawed decision-making. It happened with Infinite Warfare, a game that, when looked at objectively, was a great game since launch, from its campaign to its multiplayer, and especially its zombies, but it was hated simply because of the trailer. Now, in the present day, Black Ops 7 is objectively better than any COD we've gotten since Infinite Warfare, with features we've been asking for so long. And instead of coming to a conclusion based on its content, that same group thinking and nostalgia-blinded crowd that's quick to hit on anything that isn't from their childhood is already at it, while gaming content creators are riding the bandwagon and dogging on the game disingenuously just for easy money. Like, for example, take the new mode that they dropped, Endgame. It's like if Outbreak from Cold War and MWZ from MW3 had a son and they grew up to be a straight-A honorable student. Essentially, it's an open-world 32-player game mode where you need to level up your chosen operator to progress their skill tree and match your damage potential so you can be strong enough to progress to the harder zones of the map, participate in difficult missions and server events to collect various in-game rewards to get even stronger and unlock even more cosmetic rewards that can be unlocked from beating them. Endgame's sense of progression and power creep is pretty great, and it can be fairly easy to screw up power creep in the game, but I feel like Endgame really hit the nail on the head with this mode. I mean, to start off, you could complete main objectives like escorting a dog score streak from A to B, or to a side objective like clearing out an enemy command center, and while these can be engaging, this isn't at all where the real chunk of Endgame's content is. Now, at launch, outside of its most basic gameplay and doing a surprisingly enjoyable camo grind, all you really had left was the Dr. Faulkner boss fight at the bottom of the map, which was nice, since you had to collaborate with basically everyone in the lobby to not die in the process of killing him. But apart from that launch content, they've added a lot more in terms of progression and events to grind out, like guild strikes, events that the entire server can work on together to take on various different bosses to make your guns OP. There's world events like the literal robot from Origins, or technically Tone Right, and the Z-Rex from Shattered Veil that give you exotic skills, a separate set of abilities that you can collect anytime you beat any world event. There's glitch fractures, which are really difficult multi-wave final missions that you need to be either really maxed out or have a competent team for. These give you nightmare skills, which are another separate set of upgradable abilities. And similar to MWZ, Endgame also has 4 sets of operations that have many challenges to complete to get lots of free cosmetics, like emotes, blueprints, charms, and especially skins. I mean, these skins look so great for being free rewards, like I rock them all the time. This mode just has so many great things to it, especially ever since it went free to play with a huge update it got then. But it all just got dismissed because it is associated with that absolutely horrendous campaign that has been talked to death in obscurity, which I'm barely going to go over. Because as you, the person watching this video, I assume the campaign is the only part of the game you know well of, since it's the only thing Consecrated would ever show or talk about. But it feels pretty easy to tell that this was never meant to be a campaign, but actually a sort of prologue to Endgame itself, seeing how it shares almost no qualities of an actual campaign, but all the features of Endgame at its launch. But I assume because of the backlash they got for Black Ops 4 having no campaign, they made the stupid decision to label it as a sequel campaign of Black Ops 2, literally setting the most absolute unachievable expectations that they could have. But that's just my headcanon. Now, going into BO7 Zombies, it's easily top 3 Zombies games as of now, and it's not even a question. That 3, in my opinion at least, being Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 2, and now Black Ops 7. Now, I get how bold of a statement that might be, breaking away from the general hive mind take that the top 3 can only ever be Black Ops 3, 2, and 1 in that order. But the primary reason why I rank Black Ops 7 Zombies so high is because of the 20-foot elephant in the room, Cursed Mode. Even better than the classic mode that we've been begging Treyarch to add for years. And the reason why I might not even play Black Ops 6 Zombies ever again, just because of how much better having Cursed Mode in Black Ops 7 is. Cursed brought back that older style of gameplay that COD Zombies was built on, while also incorporating and enhancing COD Ghost Extinction's relic system, where there you'd simply just prestige to unlock relics that would modify your game heavily. The main difference here in Black Ops 7 is that relics need to be hunted and collected through methods that tend to be just as difficult and obscure as any Easter egg in Black Ops 4, which is a good thing, mind you. And so depending on the relics you've collected and enabled, you can really make the game play like the older Zombies games with a relic setup that's like this, that removes all the junk that comes with modern Zombies mechanics. What it does exactly is, it reverts the round change delay to only a few seconds, and it removes score streaks, craftable self-revives, ammo boxes, armor drops, and armor in general, excluding golden armor though. So when I run this setup, it really brings back real difficulty and power creep back into modern Zombies, especially if you run this one jug augment called Turtle Shell with the armor relic I was talking about. It gives golden armor effectively the same progression and purpose as just building a shield. The sheer amount of replay value and fun that comes with being able to make your game play like a classic Zombies game, run random modifiers that change the gameplay dramatically, or being able to run every relic you have in a public match for no good reason, simply just cannot be understated. But that's enough going on about how great Curse Mode is. Let's get into the most important part about Zombies, being the maps. And when it comes to Black Ops 7 as a whole, its clearest highlight is its Zombies map selection. Simply put, Ashes of the Damned is a spiritual successor to Transit and a full, unrestricted realization of the ideas that Transit was going for. See, on Transit, you have to depend on whether Ted likes you today or not, for him not to drive off within 10 seconds leaving his bus, or on RNG-dependent denizen portals to get you around to each location. with each location being in or separated by this opaque fog. And while not being that hard to navigate in so long as you know the map, having to deal with denizens and lava killing you for the crime of not wanting to put up with Ted, as we all know, just sucks. On the other hand, on Ashes, Ted's been installed on old Tessie, a truck that you can upgrade over time like the transit bus, but here you can personally drive it as well, giving the player far more agency. The fog instead has hordes of zombies and isn't completely opaque, actually letting you see what you're doing, with no significant structures in it that for some reason have one weapon parts, looking at you, Jet Gun, but still having the fog play its role in the Easter egg and just general player progression. Speaking of the Easter egg, it's fairly difficult and convoluted, which does help its replayability, and the steps where you have to do a lockdown in this tiny little space or find these keys in the fog to give you debuffs that force you to plan ahead are what make this Easter egg great. The one weapon of Ashes is the Necrofluid Gauntlet. It's an infinite damage one weapon that not only looks cool, but can shit out spikes that you can either have retract back through enemies or just explode them outright, and the steps to acquire the gauntlet are pretty fun to play through each time. And the boss fight, it's still my favorite boss fight in BO7, despite how great all the other ones in this game are. You have to ram into the boss repeatedly with Tessie, while avoiding its many different attacks like a demolition derby with an attack pattern. This boss was really difficult, which I really liked, but for many people it was way too difficult, so they had to nerf it. But they left the original harder version in curse mode, making it a trend for the following maps, which was a great way to go about that, seeing as it's generally rare for casual and hardcore zombies players to both get what they want. Lastly, like most zombies maps, each map has their own Easter egg song, and Black Ops 7's maps are no different. This map's Easter egg song that's also been playing in the background is Turn to Ashes. It sounds great, but that's just basically a given when it's a Kevin Sherwood song. Off of everything it has to offer, I'm giving Ashes of the Damned a 9 out of 10. Astra Malorum is set in outer space on top of this Skull Meteor hybrid in Saturn's asteroid belt and in the dark ether. If that isn't one of the most unique settings for a zombies map in history, I really have no idea what is. And it really helps that this map has my favorite intro cutscene in any zombies map ever. The map itself is an observatory that's been ripped from the normal world, placed here, and was inhabited by a cult that was all killed by their former protector, Oscar, a mini-boss that, like George Romero from Call of the Dead, patrols the map and can empower the zombies. Astra Malorum's Easter egg is really easy, but it's certainly not simple, seeing as it does require a bit of memorization and logic, and especially whether you're paying attention in school when I tell you about planets. One thing I like to know about this Easter egg though is that people like to put it down by saying Oscar's too slow and annoying when you have to lead him to all three traps. That really isn't the point, seeing as there are ways to force Oscar to spawn to the map, so it all really just comes down to your own map knowledge and planning. The Easter egg leads up to taking a teleporter to the planet Mars, also confirming that Tranquilite took place on Mars too, and also the reveal of the map itself being the first stage of the boss fight was just great. This map's one weapon is the LGM-1, and it's honestly one of my favorites ever with how cool the little alien guy inside of it is, just shooting out little mini UFOs, and it really helps how great it is for high rounds. Although the map does kind of fall flat in a couple areas, namely how the boss fight, though conceptually it looks great, gameplay wise it's kind of just a watered down version of the boss fight on Citadel. Outside of Mars, Astra also has very few good training spots, and with how tight the map layout is, Oscar makes training here so much worse, with how much he spams his zombie empowering UFOs, forcing you to either play around him as he screws up your train inevitably, or just leave the area entirely and just hope he de-aggroes. Though Oscar did get many changes after the map released, one of the great ones being the change to his drops. See, before he was just useless, considering that the only drop he gave was a toy that's used for an even more useless side Easter egg. But now, he drops a war machine every time he dies, making him much more in line with the likes of George Romero. Lastly, in terms of Astra's Easter egg song, Magic by Avenged Sevenfold, at first I reasonably thought it just sounded like straight noise pollution, but some ways, somehow, it's just really grown on me and now I actually listen to it unironically. Note that it would play here, but I'm not risking it here with that copyright. So, for everything that Astra Malorum has to offer, it gets an 8.3 out of 10. Paradox Junction is a map that, in my opinion, is pretty fun and replayable, but let's just get out of the way first, right? Should this have been yet another Nuketown but in zombies for technically the fourth time, or the Bunny for the third time? No. Like, it makes sense thematically and lore-wise, but like, come on. And the return of the shock mimics really doesn't help either, but apart from the lack of originality in those aspects, Paradox is way more to it than I expected it to. So after the Warden snatched up the crew in Astra, he sent them to the sort of purgatory Nuketown that's stuck in a time loop, which is why I assume the Blind Guy is back, seeing as the Mob of the Dead shits are kind of theming. Every 5 rounds, or whenever you choose to, the map switches between 2 points in time, this post-nuke version and this pre-nuke version. Now, the pre-nuke version is about what you'd expect. I mean, it really is just Black Ops 6 Nuketown with some blood smears and Ethereum crystals strewn about. But the post-nuke version looks absolutely stunning, as this huge mushroom cloud in the background just blends with the skybox and the particle effects and the fire everywhere just so well, making this map my favorite, at least visually, because this map's concept and execution are both amazingly done, especially with that seamless transition between timelines. That really surprised me the most, as I thought we were just going to get that same default teleporting animation that we've had since Cold War. I mean, that really saved the map for me. But I just can't help but to think that this map should have been like way bigger. Like, seriously, Treyarch couldn't have found a way to knock down these fences or alter these buildings to add more playable area. Like, look at these extra spaces that they've already designed. This would be great addition to the map. But despite all of that, I find myself going back to Paradox fairly often because of how memorable its main quest is. Though the rest of it is good too, having stuff where you legit have to do mini games like Hopscotch and Foursquare will never not be fun to play through each time. Every side Easter egg in this map is really easy and really useful, seeing as the most complex one literally just has you searching some pots with depth perception, making it so they all just add more to the map's natural progression instead. The one weapon of Paradox, as I mentioned earlier, is the Blundergat, but now it has a new variant, being the Sundergat. So, aside from the name, the Sundergat is great if using it correctly, but man are the steps to get it annoying. Specifically the step where you have to lead a fire tornado zombie to the build table. My main issue with that is how inconsistent those fire tornadoes are. Sometimes they'll take 1 round to spawn in, or 5 if a dog round forces you to switch timelines. They also spawn in areas you're likely to be training in, so if you're not paying attention to that, you'll have to spend even more time on this step. I mean, it's just flat out annoying. I found this map's boss fight is a lot more engaging than people give it credit for, as it really tests your skill with the different strategies and techs you can apply here. You have to complete a given objective, and that leads into a defense step, and ending it in a damage step is a level of complexity that you don't see that often in zombies, so that is appreciated. Second to last, this map's Easter egg song is Come Back Down, and it is second in my top 3 COD zombie songs of all time. I mean, it just sounds that good. But finally, Paradox Junction really could have been better if it just was a Nuketown. And though Paradox getting delayed is likely the reason we've been getting maps at the start of every mid-season as opposed to the start of each season, I'd say the delay was worth it in the end. So for all of this, I'll be giving Paradox Junction a 7.8 out of 10. It really could have been better.
He was whipping up shit in a kettle, boiling shit, actual shit, like boiling poo in a kettle.